Hey everybody, good morning, good morning, good morning. Hope this video finds you happy and healthy no matter who you are or where you are. But today I wanted to really just relay some things that I took away from a conversation that I had yesterday. Um, I was super privileged to be in this conversation with a bunch of really high level people about purpose. And it was interesting to me because at the very beginning of this conversation, and it got super deep, right? But at the beginning of this conversation, the question was asked, raise your hand if you feel like you've kind of got your purpose figured out. And I did not raise my hand because I feel like I have an idea, but I feel like I don't, it's not really locked down yet. And so I didn't raise my hand. And then throughout this hour long conversation where we were really diving into this topic and idea, my entire mindset shifted to the point where I was like, I should have raised my hand at the beginning because I did know, but I didn't know that I knew. And I've said for a while that my point of starting this channel and really trying to just speak more, talk more, do things like this is to try and take some of the information that I'm getting by being in the just ridiculous situation that I'm in, and then helping to kind of pass that along and give that to some other people. And it's funny that we're talking about purpose because I've always said that my purpose is coaching, right? I want to get as good as I can get. I want to learn as much as I can learn. And then I want to teach that. I want to coach other people on how to get there because I feel like I've got a way of, hopefully, I have a way of kind of breaking things down and communicating it that can help others get to that point as well. So the first big thing that came out of this conversation was this idea of don't idolize life itself. And it was such a deep concept that I was almost taken aback by it at first. It was like, what are you talking about? Don't idolize life. But obviously, this individual was referring to a part in the Bible that says, "Thou shalt not worship false idols," right? And what she was saying was that when you idolize life itself, when you idolize your human experience, when you idolize your own consciousness in a way, you almost are blinding yourself from being able to see what you're actually here to do. And it's funny because I think that really lines up with some things that I've been thinking about from an entrepreneurship perspective, which is that nobody is truly free until you don't fear death, right? Because we talk a lot about financial freedom. We talk a lot about the freedom to use your time however you'd like, freedom to say what you want to say, think how you want to think, et cetera, et cetera. But the reality is, so long as you are living in fear of when that living stops, i.e., living in fear of death, you're still able to be controlled in some way or another, right? People can still pull those levers and say, well, as long as I make you afraid of death, then you're not truly free, right? Because you live and operate in a certain way based off of that fear. Now, obviously, I'm not saying that you should just go jump off a cliff because you're invincible and death isn't real or danger isn't real. Like, that's not what I'm saying. But I am saying so long as you fear it, beyond the point of using that fear to make rational, reasonable decisions, as long as you fear it to the point where it interferes with your ability to see what you are supposed to do, or, and maybe that's too religious of a concept, if it interferes with your ability to listen to your own inner voice, I'll put it that way, then it's still a hindrance to you achieving all that you could be and fulfilling your potential, right? So one of the big quotes that somebody really close to me has always said is, you have to die to allow your purpose to live, right? She says, you have to die to allow your purpose to live. What does that mean? It doesn't mean that you actively, like, you're just, obviously, right? It doesn't mean that you die. It means that that part of the ego that says, I want to be responsible for my good work, the part of the ego that says, I want to be right, the part of the ego that says, I want things to be perfect, right? Perfectionism is really an ego thing if you get down to it. And that's coming from a perfectionist. But you have to allow that part of you to die, the human part of you. You have to let that go in order for your purpose to be able to be activated. Because so long as you're trying to take the credit for everything, and so long as you are concerned about other people's opinions, and you're concerned about very just earthly concepts and constructs, it's going to be really hard for you to find some sort of transcendent purpose. And I think when people talk about purpose, it's always something transcendent. It's always something that transcends human limitation. It's always something that transcends fear, that transcends work, work ethic and effort. People are willing to do more when they feel a sense of purpose because they feel that it's bigger than them, or bigger than their own human limitations, if that makes any sense. And so allow that part of yourself to die so that your purpose can live. All right. The second big thing, to do that, you have to stop idolizing life itself. You almost have to let go, not necessarily be laissez-faire about your life and how important it is, because it's this strange dichotomy, right? And I apologize in advance for this video because this is not my typical motivational step-by-step how-to type of video. This is really just, I'm trying to figure this out while I'm speaking it on camera. So if it comes across as a little bit jumbled, it's because I'm right there with everybody else trying to understand it, trying to figure it out. And I just hope that in the process of doing so, maybe some dots will connect for you as well. But the reason that you have to not idolize life in order to let yourself die so that your purpose can live is that so long as you are so strongly attached and emotionally invested in you being alive, then by direct correlation, you are strongly emotionally invested in your ego being alive, right? Because and that really dives deeper into this idea of ever-present universal consciousness, which I don't think we need to get into, but just the idea that as long as you're so focused on idolizing life itself, that's connected to your ego, and that ego is what's going to block you from reaching your purpose. That's the main 1, 2, 3 of that I think from a high level is important to understand. And it's a strange dichotomy, right? Because on one hand, you have to understand that you are unbelievably, infinitely valuable, right? As a human being, you are infinitely valuable. Why? Because you are, well, for one, just from a purely practical level, all great things are done by humans on this world, right? Try and think of something amazing that you've heard of, an amazing story, an amazing achievement, an amazing accomplishment, an amazing invention. That's all done by a human, right? And if they can do it, you can do it. Therefore, just the entirety of human value is stored within you on some level. You just have to tap into the part of it that aligns with who you are, right? So you are infinitely valuable just as a person. And then if you bring in the spiritual aspect of it in terms of, well, you're made in the image and likeness of God, and you have some of that in you. You have the ability to create on this world. You have the ability to impact and help and persuade and all these other things. You get some value from that as well. If God is infinite, an infinite value, and you have a tiny fraction of that in you, a fraction of infinity is still infinity. Therefore, you're infinitely valuable, right? So it's this idea of, as a human being, you are worth the whole world in and of and by yourself, yet also you have to almost detach from the outcome of being alive, because when you understand that you don't really, the physical you isn't connected to your purpose, that's when you are allowed to reach your purpose. And that's a really trippy thought, right? And I'm alluding to and implying in that statement that there is such a thing as universal never-ending consciousness, and that when your physical body dies, something happens to that spirit. I guess that is almost a necessary implication of what I'm saying there. And again, I haven't figured that out. But what I do know is that there's a dichotomy there between detaching from the outcome and detaching from the ego and being okay if that ego dies, whether that mean metaphorically or physically and literally, and the freedom that gives you to live your life unattached from people's opinions, expectations, and demands, and also recognizing that you and your physical form, you being alive, is worth an infinite amount, right? It's like a scale with infinity on both sides. How to navigate that, I'm not sure. But I do know that is somehow intrinsically true. So Again, my apologies for going deep on that. Number two, it's more important to have a sense of purpose than a concrete purpose. What does that mean? One thing that came up during our discussion about purpose yesterday was that there was a study done that showed that people with a sense of purpose literally made more money. Like they're just more successful in life, right? Which I think is kind of cool. But the key phrasing there is people with a sense of purpose. It doesn't say people who have, without a doubt, concretely identified their purpose and are walking in it made more money. It's just people with a sense of purpose. And for me, that was really freeing because I've always felt like I have a purpose and I kind of know what it is, but I am such a perfectionist that I wanted to really lock down exactly, specifically, and articulate what that is precisely. And I think that in doing so, what it did was create a gap, right? And this is going to directly segue into my third point, which is don't seek your purpose, activate your purpose. What does that mean? It means that so long as I have this identity or this prerequisite that I've placed in my own head that's completely arbitrary, that I have to have a 100% locked down and fully articulated, extremely specific purpose for my life, that I cannot walk in that purpose until I get that hyper-specific definition. That is not true. The reason being is because whatever you chase will run from you. I don't care if you're chasing money, love, whatever. It's going to run if you chase it. And so if I start to say that I'm here in the present moment, in the here and now, and my purpose is somewhere out here, and I've yet to find it, therefore I am seeking it, then automatically it runs from me, and there is a gap and a space between where I am and where my purpose lies. And I've created that gap simply by how I've conceptualized it mentally, because I'm saying I'm here in the present now. I do not have my purpose as I am, and so somewhere off in the future when I figure it out, I will have my purpose and then things will be better. That is a lie that you are telling yourself. Your purpose is already within you. You simply have to activate it. What does that mean? It means that instead of searching for it, you recognize that it's already in you, even if it isn't as specific as you'd like it to be. That's not how the world works. You don't get to wake up one day and say, I know exactly what I'm here for, I know exactly what I'm supposed to do, and I know exactly what to spend this hour and the next hour and the next hour and the next hour doing. The way that you find your purpose is by waking up and acting as it already is, and walking in that, and behaving in a deliberate enough way that closely approximates your purpose or what you understand your purpose to be. And in the process of doing that, your purpose will make itself known to you. But the distinction here, and the key thing, is that we're not acting as if our purpose is somewhere outside of us. It's something that we have to go find, something that we have to go chase, something that we have to go search for. The key is that our purpose is something that is already within us. And all of us know on some level what it is. I don't care how abstract it is. You have an idea. You have some sense of being pulled towards one way of life or another. You have some sense of calling and purpose. Everybody does. Now, it's usually hidden under the ego. It's usually hidden under other people's expectations and opinions. It's usually hidden under your beliefs, your limiting beliefs about what you're capable of and not capable of, as well as your beliefs of what people should and should not do, right? What success is and is not. It's hidden under all of that, but it's still already there. It's still in the present moment. It's still in the now, which is the same place that you are. And so the key is to understand that you already have everything that you need. And you simply have to activate that. You don't look for purpose. You activate that purpose. And that comes down to making a decision. It comes down to making a decision. It comes down to saying, I'm not going to wait anymore. It comes down to saying, I'm not going to live another day in this present form of me where I am living in lack, where I'm living in lack of purpose, where I'm living in lack of understanding. I'm simply going to decide that today is the day that I'm going to activate my purpose. I'm going to begin walking in that, whatever that may be, right? You already have it, but you have to do something with it, right? Faith without works is dead. If you believe that you have it, if you believe that you're capable, but you don't act as if you are, what's the point, right? And so, like I said, probably I'm a little bit philosophical for the average video, but I think that when it comes to the concept of purpose, it is important to understand those 3 points, right? I think it's important to understand that you've already got it in you. I think it's important to understand that you have to get your ego out of the way in order to activate it. And I think it's important to understand that it's more important. It's important that it's more important to have a sense of it, to believe in it, than it is to have some sort of concrete definition. I don't really believe that you have to have it written down. I don't really believe that. I don't really believe that you have to be able to tell somebody like, oh, my purpose is this. I don't think you need to. I don't think you need to be some personal development junkie like I am that, really gets deep into these topics. I think you just have to live your life on fire. And if you're doing that, who really cares about the rest of it, right? As long as you're living your life where you're excited every single day about what you've been put on this earth to do, whatever that is, I don't see anything wrong with that. All right, so that's the video for today. I hope you found it valuable. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please subscribe and share this with somebody else. Also, make sure you go follow me on Instagram at IamBBurns. And as always, look, if you believed in yourself the same way that I believe in you, I promise you wouldn't doubt yourself for a second. All right, so take care, stay blessed. I'll see you on the next one.